Welcome to the Rime Center's Dharma Talk podcast, Achieving Peace Through Compassion. This podcast is a recording of the Dharma Talks given during our Sunday service.
I want to share with you a quote first. Named Ram Dass, and he said, and I quote, "Your whole life can be grist for the mill of awakening. Your whole life can be grist for the mill of awakening." Now, I don't know about you. I don't know what grist is, and I sort of barely know what a mill is, but the meaning of that is everything in your life can be part of your spiritual journey. Everything in your life, everything that happens, we can find a lesson in that is part of our awakening. So with that, and then I'm going to tell you about when I was assaulted. And I'm telling you about that because one thing that happens in life is unexpected things that aren't supposed to happen. They happen, right? Car accidents or divorce or catastrophic sudden illness, right? Or even catastrophic slow illness. I guess that's not supposed to happen either, right? My parents were victims in their 50s. That wasn't supposed to happen, right? My grandfather was hit by lightning and he died. And that wasn't supposed to happen either, right? You could make the case nobody's supposed to be hit by lightning, though, right? I think of like maybe Dr. Frankenstein or Powder. Does anybody know Powder? Like maybe them, or maybe Benjamin with his unsafe kite activities. But people aren't supposed to be hit by light. But things that aren't supposed to. And so I'm going to tell you about how I was assaulted, and I'm okay though. Yeah, I'm fine. But I went to Detroit for work for a convention, and I was there for 6 days. And you know, Detroit maybe has a reputation a little bit, but I didn't. For the first 4 days out there, and of course, I even went through some kind of neighborhoods that I was a little bit like, not sure if I should be there, but nothing happened. But then on the fourth day, I was on a street corner and I was waiting for the walk light to come on, you know, and I was doing something stupid. I was looking at my phone, which you should never do in an unfamiliar place. But I was doing that, and a stranger came up and sucker punched me right in the mouth, punched me, and I fell down. I had the incredible good fortune to catch myself on my arms, so I didn't hit my head when I fell down. And this guy, he punched me, and then he just kept going. So he was gone. And I was so surprised. I was so taken out of my normal day-to-day experience that I just froze for at least a minute. I was just there on the ground like, okay, what happened? What am I going to do? I was afraid for a second he was going to rob me. I'm really lucky he didn't rob me, but I'm also really lucky that he didn't hit me another way that would have broken my nose or broken my teeth, or I didn't hit my head. Like all sorts of things could have been worse. And I was okay though. I had like a cut on my lip right here, but otherwise I was fine. It was more scary than anything else, but that's how life is sometimes, right? And we get reminded we're not in control, or at least we don't have the level of control we think we do. So things that aren't supposed to happen, they happen. So this guy just punched me. And at first, you know, and I called my friend for help to get a towel and stuff. So I didn't have to go into my hotel like with blood on my face, because I did have blood on my face. But and I was, by the way, across the street from my hotel. Very strange place to get assaulted. But at first I thought, you know, after I found out I was okay, I thought, how much hate does a person have in their heart that they just go punch a stranger? But now I don't think it was hate. I think this was a dumb kid who was doing something stupid. Somebody told me there's a knockout game you can see on TikTok. I don't know if it's true or not, where people like film themselves punching people. It may have been something like that. I tried to find myself get punched on TikTok and I couldn't. But I think he was just making a bad choice, just a young person making a bad choice. He looked young. From what I could tell, again, he was gone very fast. A police officer asked me to describe him, and I had trouble doing it because I didn't get a good look at him. If I had my wits about me, I might have like rolled over and taken a picture with my phone or something, right? So I could describe him, but it's fine because I wasn't hurt that bad, but I certainly could have been, right? What if he had been someone that wanted to kill a stranger instead of assault one? But I could have just not come home, right? And that is a reminder that life is impermanence, right? It's one of what we call the 3 marks of existence: suffering, impermanence, and no self. And the Diamond Sutra says, in the Diamond Sutra, the Buddha says, and I quote, "This fleeting world is like a star at dawn, a bubble in a stream, a flash of lightning in a summer cloud, a flickering lamp, a phantom, and a dream." End quote. That's a lot of ways to say anytime. You can go anytime. And we don't like to remember that, and we don't like to think about it. But would we make different choices if we knew we were going to die? Maybe. If we knew we all knew we were going to die soon, would we make different choices? I don't know. I know I would look at my phone less though. So when we talk about suffering in Buddhism, which is another mark of existence, I kind of don't like that word, and I'll tell you why. To me, the word suffering implies things like getting assaulted, right? Things like big injuries or big illnesses. And a lot of the suffering in life is not that, though. I think it's a translation issue, because when the original word is dukkha, and when that word was first translated into English, it was translated as suffering. And it has just been stuck with. It's the same kind of issue revolves around the word emptiness, which I won't talk about right now, but it was first translated that way, and people have just stuck with it. But dukkha has more connotations of unease than misery. So I like to think of it more as, like Thoreau said, life's a quiet desperation. A lot more of the suffering in my life is hot outside and my air conditioning's making a weird sound and I'm worried, right? Nothing's happened yet, but that's suffering because I'm worried. That's suffering, right? There's lots of little ways we suffer like that. And that's suffering just as much as getting assaulted is suffering. It's just a different form. I have read that dukkha is traditionally sometimes described as, go with me on this, having an ox cart with a broken wheel. Now, an ox cart doesn't mean that much to me in the modern world. I think of Oregon Trail because I'm Generation X. So when I think of an ox cart, I just think of Oregon Trail trying to get across in that computer game. But that's not really relatable either. So I like to use the metaphor of a shopping cart. Life is like a shopping cart with a messed up wheel, because we've all been shopping. And, sometimes you go to the grocery store and you're shopping and you get your cart and you're pushing it along. And like a few minutes into it, it's just bump, the wheel sticks and it's unpleasant. So just a mild inconvenience. And it's not bad enough to put the cart back, but it is something you're going through that's making your shopping experience just a little bit more unpleasant. And life is like that. Sometimes life is like a shopping cart with one wheel that's messed up. Sometimes it's 2, and sometimes it's 3, and sometimes it feels like the cart's not going at all, right? So life is like a shopping cart with messed up wheels. And that's sort of how I think of dukkha, suffering. A lot of the time it's not a stranger punch you in the face, but also it can be, because all sorts of things happen in our lives that we struggle with. And even just the simple act of getting older has some suffering attached to us. Not just it reminds us of impermanence, but also like, my neck is sore for no reason, right? Because I'm getting older. Illnesses last longer because I'm getting older. And even injuries take longer to heal because I'm getting older. And that's an undercurrent of suffering that we all have. And all my body don't work as well as they used to. And the older I get, the more relatable that is. So that is how I think about suffering a lot of the time. It's just that undercurrent of slowly things are not working like they used to. And unexpected things are always happening. So, but that being said, though, when we're struggling, I'm hoping that we can learn to cultivate a mind that says, instead of saying, why is this happening to me, and just lamenting our distress, but instead we can say, okay, it's this, what can I do? This, what can I do? So I could have been punched and I could have just laid on the ground and just cried in misery for a while, but I got up and I figured out how to get myself cleaned up, and I thought about, okay, how am I going to go on with my day? Do I need to go to the hospital? I didn't, thankfully, but we can learn how to do that. I was listening to a song by Jay-Z where he says, get the dirt off your shoulder. And what he's saying is when people are giving you trouble, you can just move forward. You can just get the dirt off your shoulder means when there's haters, you don't let it get you down. That's what it means. And that's because a lot of the time when we struggle with what people do, a lot of the time it's not somebody punching you. It's somebody being sort of rude, somebody cutting you off in traffic, somebody just being annoying. And that is a situation where you can just get the dirt off your shoulder. You can just move on. So that's it for today, and I hope it's been helpful.
Thank you for listening to the Rime Buddhist Center's Dharma Talk podcast. Music was provided by Barefoot Brand Music. Please consider supporting the Rime Buddhist Center by making a donation at our website at www.rimecenter.org/donate.